All right, so good evening, everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to another exciting session hosted by the SPE LASU. Right now, to officially get the wheels turning and to welcome you all to this session, we'll be hearing from the one and only, our very own president, Sylvester Gosi. So, Mr. Gosi, over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Mercy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's a cold evening here in Ekpe. It just rained, so I'm guessing that's why many students are not online, because the network has been a little shaky this evening. But it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure to welcome every single one of us to today's ALP session hosted by SP Lasu. And as students and young professionals, most of us think that the energy industry or the oil and gas industry is strictly for engineers, geologists, or maybe data analysts, right? But in essence, the truth is that the industry thrives because of a collaboration amongst many disciplines. And today's session on the multidisciplinary roles in the oil and gas industry would would help remind us that innovation doesn't just apply to one field alone. Like innovation basically happens when different minds and different people come together to like solve a complex problem. And we're truly honored to have our very distinguished speaker today. We'll be getting to meet him very soon. He's an experienced professional in the field and will be sharing information and insights that's cut across various aspects of the industry. So I encourage every single one of us here on this call to listen attentively, to take notes, and to think about how our unique skills can contribute to the energy sector of the future. Right. So on behalf of SP Lasso, I want to thank our speaker for accepting our invitation and every single one of us on this call for taking the time to join us today. So, once again, you're very welcome. And I hope this session ignites a new perspective in you and inspires you to see the oil and gas industry in broader light. Right. So, thank you very much. And over to you, Mercy.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. President. So, as Mr. President has said, welcome, welcome to another ALP session hosted by SPE LASU, right? So, if you can hear me, can I see your virtual reactions, please? All right, thank you very much. All right, team, you know how SPE does it. Safety first, even online. So, right now, we're going to be taking our safety brief. Number one, mute your mic when you're not speaking. Number two, raise up your hands to speak. Number three, use the chat buttons. Number four, be at alert and aware of your environment. Number five, maintain a good sitting posture. And number six, always stay safe. Now, for the moment we're all gathered here for, brace yourselves, right? Because our speaker tonight is one of those people who make you want to work smarter, think broader, and dream bigger. So we are honored to host Walter Egbueze. Mr. Walter stands out as a seasoned environmental engineer with a diverse background spanning manufacturing, technology, and the oil and gas industries. His leadership and networking prowess were notably displayed during his tenure as the president of the Society of Petroleum Engineers at Obafemi Awolowo University in 2015. Furthering his commitment to the field, he holds the position of Young Professional Chair for SPE in the Permian Basin, Texas. Walter's professional journey includes significant roles at ConocoPhillips, and he has contributed his expertise to leading corporations such as ExxonMobil, Amazon, and Cummins. His academic credentials are equally impressive, with a degree in chemical engineering from OAU, a Master of Science in the Environmental Engineering from Texas, and executive education in environmental sustainability from Harvard School of Public Health. He also has a certified skill in advanced data analytics at the University of Texas McCombs Business School. Walter's multifaceted experience and education makes him a valuable asset in the field of environmental engineering. He is also the 2024 SPE Africa Regional Awardee and the 2025 SPE Giovanni Paccaloni Awardee. Guys, if your hands are not too busy, even if they are, let's give a virtual round of applause for our speaker for tonight's ALP session. Right, thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. You guys now. I need more hands, more hands, more hands. All right, thank you guys so much. So, Mr. Walter, if you're on the call, you have the floor, please. You can
Hello,
speak.
can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm trying to. I don't know what's going on with the with Google Meet. My camera. I'll put on my camera so y'all can see me. Hmm, that's quite strange. Excuse me. Oh, okay, I know why. So, how's everyone's day been? Yeah, y'all can
Um,
see me, right?
no, we can't see you.
Now?
Nah, not still.
Hmm, background, show my full video too. Okay. Uh, can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. I can see you now from my end.
Yeah, I don't know. Can every other person see me? You can give a thumbs up. Okay, cool. I see. Cool. I think people are. Messi, can you see me now? I think
I
she's.
can't, but if you else can see you, then no problem.
Oh, yeah, I think every other person can see me. I see they're putting their thumbs up. 1 second. Hmm. Entire screen. So how does this? Oh, I'm trying to share now. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, we can.
What do you guys see? The flyer?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So good evening in Nigeria and good afternoon here. My name is Walter. I'm environmental engineer in Houston, Texas. Like she rightly said, this will be more very interactive. Feel free to maybe drop your questions or ask. It's more of it's a generic topic, but very interactive. Real quick, I'll run through what we'll focus on. We'll talk about get to meet me again. I think she gave you some highlights. Roadmap, roles in the oil and gas sector, briefly touch education and career development, then we'll touch factors impeding roles. So this pretty much an overview. She has given an overview of myself. Yeah, I worked in different industries, mostly oil and gas and manufacturing and all. And fun fact, I like to go for vacations and tours and concerts. Pretty much, that's what I like to do most of the time, my spare time, and of course, movie hangout. So the oil and gas industry. So I know this presentation, I got called last week, so it's going to be brief, but we're going to be very interactive. So I know you guys know there are three. The industry is divided into three: the upstream, midstream, and downstream, right? So I'm going to really break down the roles in each of these streams. And I know with the innovation and new technology and a lot of demand, the most of these areas of the oil and gas industry, like divisions, have developed some new positions and trying to accommodate the ever-changing trend in the world. So pretty much we are focusing on driving resource availability and exploration and innovation. And SP is solution, people, energy, pretty much. So that's also ties to that, making sure we're ensuring efficient and safe transportation for energy. Pretty much that's what you have in the midstream. The upstream, what do we have? Most times we have the geologists where they're the ones who explore the exploratory part, right? They explore for this oil, find or look for the pay zone, right? Look for the reserves. They also have geophysicists, you have the drilling engineers, and those are the people. Then the reservoir engineers, I call them the doctors of the, we call them pretty much of the well. They make sure they maintain that well, make sure it is functioning well. Pretty much, I thought before you, while you're producing, you want to make sure you're not having a lot of negative factors affecting the production. Then well testing operator, I also found upstream. So the upstream roles are not limited to all this. Pretty much, you could have environmental engineers working in the upstream. You have people, a data analyst working in the upstream. You could have chemical engineer working upstream. You have production engineers. So it's not limited to, we can't put everything, capture this in one slide, but it's diverse, especially when it comes to data. The industry, in fact, most geologists now are incorporating a lot of data and trying to use all those like seismic data. And you can see using seismic data for subsoil. Even environmental engineers are there. For example, I can give you an example. I'm an environmental engineer. We have salt water disposal facility wells, which are in the upstream. And these wells, we need to collect data, and we have to collaborate with geologists to gather seismic data for audits, especially when they are handling our salt water disposal. So they have to do every year, they have to audit those sites, making sure we check the coordinates, check the seismic data and all that to ensure that pretty much they're up to date and also they're compliant with the regulations. So there's a lot. So this topic is really broad than multidisciplinary. All the roles are interrelated. Everybody's working together. And that's upstream. Midstream, yeah, transportation, pipeline, of course, pipeline engineer. You have the terminals, right? You have the logistic part of it, and you have the control system technicians. But majorly more of the transportation part, which is what it covers. Your pipeline, like in the United States, what they call FIMSA, right? And that's part of FIMSA. Sometimes you have environmental engineers also, and also production engineers, or mechanical engineers too working. So that's why I say sometimes you might not capture everything on the midstream, or everybody all works in that sector of the oil and gas, the midstream. You have all those people working there. And again, during the course of the presentation, I will show you some data of the SP survey and look at the factors and look at other things, what you need to do. I know all this data, how do I get to this? I'm sure that's a question, not just talking about midstream option. How do I get into these positions and what do I need to do? Then you have the downstream. The downstream talks about refining. And most of the positions, like I said, you could find even a process engineer could be in the upstream. They're all interlinked, depending on the position and depending on the need and the business need of that company. You have a process engineer, you have maintenance technician, you have the instrumentation technician, and the quality control. I forgot to talk about the offshore part of it, where you have your remote operated vehicles. And I think, let me see, I think it's, yeah. So the offshore and subsea roles, the ROV is a big one. So for example, you have a corrosion of a riser offshore, and how can you inspect that riser, or how can you inspect a leak? So that's where the ROV technician, they operate those. And of course, a lot of AI tools, AI operated systems now to detect leak, detect gas leak, detect leaks of maybe cracks in risers offshore, off platform. So that's, you see, all those roles are incorporated. In fact, there are a lot of machine learning roles now in the oil and gas sector. So it's pretty much the system is kind of flexible, where you can't really just say there's one particular role in upstream, midstream, downstream. Now, because this industry is flexible, a lot of emerging technologies, and there are things where positions are even made, are even coined for the biz, for the need, to meet the need. Because in the end, the oil and gas, they're there for business. They're not there to just put the role for as a mannequin, or you're just there as a mannequin, or just put the name to make it look grand. It has to meet the business needs, and that's why the business part of the oil and gas companies come into play. Like I just basically put this because I'm an environmental engineer. Health and safety. Safety is number one, regardless of whatever role you're doing. It can be production. Number one for every company, when you're hired on day one, you have to go through the safety protocol. You can't work. You can't work in a company if you can't. You won't be allowed to continue to work regardless of what position. Especially if you are going to be visiting a facility or even working on site or going offshore, safety is number one. Yeah, you can't interchange safety for complacency, no. So, but in environmental space, there's safety, there's environmental. So most people mix HSC and environmental. So HSC mostly are more of process safety management, ergonomics, lockout, tag out, worker tight, slip, trip and falls, injuries, worker compensation, things like that. Then you have a department that talks about industrial hygiene, making sure you have the right PPE, make sure you have the right respirator if you're working in an H2S facility, things like that. The environmental part of it is wider. That's where you have your greenhouse gas, you have your air, you have your direct air capture under the air part, and you have your waste management, you have your emissions reporting, then you have your wastewater treatment, you have your which other part of it? I think those are the major ones in the environmental. So most people mix HSC is went from environmental. So HSC has their own. HSC is making sure everybody's working safely. That's what HSC folks are there for, making sure they have this right system training given to everybody, make sure everybody's up to date with our safety rules, the PPEs. What environmental engineers do differently. They focus on air regulation, wastewater treatment, hazardous waste. Then you cannot have your greenhouse gas, which is under air, methane reduction. So I'm sure you're curious. I know we talk about the different fields cadres in the oil and gas sector, right? And we're trying to know. So I'm sure some people will be curious how do we get to that point? How can we get to work in this area? So the first thing I'll talk about is, of course, degree first. So this is a roadmap. Currently, most of you are undergrads, right? Undergrads or doing your master's program. Getting that education is key. With that, doing your research, maybe you could figure out. Then having the opportunity to work in industry, the second step is internship. But I would say while you're doing your internship, the first thing, I think I will tie the internship and the mentorship, because during your course of your internship, you get to work with someone on a project or your supervisor. That would actually be it could be your mentor. I would advise you have different mentors, not just one. You could have a mentor who knows how to help you your resume. You have one who will help you technical part of it. So or help you, someone who knows how to rebrand your LinkedIn page if you're looking for your next big job. But that's a different topic entirely. I talked to Paul about working on resumes and making sure you rebrand your LinkedIn page to look like what a job you're looking for, and make sure it matches what your resume is saying, especially when you're applying. So you have to have a mentor to guide you to know what part of the industry do you want to go. Do you want to go midstream, downstream, upstream, and what do you want to do? Do you want to modify your job? You want to be in a position where it's flexible. And I always advise try and incorporate data in anything you do. It makes you flexible. Networking, conferences. I know people know about NICE. I think that's NICE in Nigeria, or NAPE. I think those are the major ones. It could even be the students. Is it what they call it, the STC or something, STSC, or I don't know if they changed the name now. Things like that. Those kind of, even platforms like this, little webinars like this are platforms because with this you get to know, okay, you're talking with your mentors. You see the step 2, step 3, step 4 all go hand in hand. You're working with people, collaborating on projects. You never know what your next big position is. Might be a project you're working on, and somebody at the convention is kind of, or conference is interested in collaborating with you. So the certifications are good, but it's not just taking certifications. It's like I'll use for in the United States, it's good, but it's about what you bring to the table. It's not just saying I have 10 5 certifications. It's how you don't want to have certifications in different areas, and it's not showing showing what you can do. You want to, if you're going to focus to be a reservoir engineer or data analyst, make sure you're focusing on those certifications, not just having certification in chemical, in data, in linguistic, or whatever, any certification, just to show you want to just be structured, and so that your resume is reflective, or when you're having those conversations, or your LinkedIn is reflective of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Um, Hard work. I'll tie hard work with SWOT analysis. Your strength, weakness, opportunities, right? So SWOT analysis is very, very good. So hard work, of course, but I would say work smart. I know most times we work so hard back a lot, but working smart means you want to focus on improving your weakness with the resources around you. You have your strong hold. You don't want to waste too much time on your strong point, but you want to leverage on that to put your best foot forward. But if you know you have a weak part of it, so that's where you have to work smarter to get those resources. It could be your classmates who is good in a particular subject and all that while you are still in school. So those are the roadmaps. I think this roadmap is how you break into those positions, roles, and in the industry. Then I talked about certifications. Career development is another thing I'll talk about. Sometimes people misinterpret this. It could be different. It could be SP, it could be networking, like I talked about. NSB, National Society of Black Engineers. It could be SWE, Society of Women Engineers. It could be NSCHE. Yeah, it could be SPE. It could be your certifications, OSHA, PMP, API. So many certifications are out there, but you have to make sure, like I said, make sure you have registration for a particular area you want to focus on. Don't have certifications that all. If you're an engineer, of course, PMP is good, because you might end up working on projects. But PMP is generic, so that's good. But you don't want to have a certification in engineering and now have one in human resource and have one. It's like you're going to be reflecting different things, and but your mentor or whoever you're applying to that will kind of be having a second thought on what you want to do. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Then it's not going to be aligning with what you're actually telling them and on why you want to be in this particular area, things like that. Continuous learning, data analytics, we can emphasize sustainability and leadership. I think those leadership will tie into the networking part of it, where you volunteer, not just network. At this, you can volunteer for SP. I know a lot of people volunteer at different levels. So this is SP salary survey from JPT Journal 2021 for those roles, like we said, and most of those roles are in different levels. They're in upstream, midstream, downstream, right? So you can see in Africa, I'll talk about Africa. Just on an average, a top executive get $83,000, and a professional, which is, I think if I hover my mouse over this, is 32,597. So that's pretty much just showing different professional. When you get out from college, I mean from university, you are retired as a professional. So on the average, around this range, you will get every year, depending on the company you're working with, pretty much. But you can see that this is just to inspire people that you don't have to limit yourself working in Africa, or you can see the top earners are people in the United States. You can see what an average engineer gets in the United States working in oil and gas, about 179, which is correct a year. This is apart from your bonus and these are your bills. Yeah. So that's a lot. So it's just to inspire you guys to say, hey, the industry is doing well, regardless of the layoffs or mergers and acquisition. So this is just a broader spectrum of different continents on what a professional engineer gets paid every year. Next slide. Continue the salary survey. Yeah, in 2020, you can see 2019 to 2021, the average professional engineer, this is where we all lie, or if you're just starting. I know this average, I would say this is for the United States or people in North America. I think Africa will have their own range, what the companies pay. So again, this industry is always hampered sometimes with factors. Yeah, there are a lot of roles, but like I said, major market volatility is one of them. The prices, fears, economic stability could be coupled with sustainable long-term goal could reduce that. But that's a key factor that could impede most of the roles, and that's why you see companies now changing roles, modifying the names of roles. You might see a data reservoir engineer, you might see reservoir engineer with focus on data. You could see environmental engineer focus on air quality or greenhouse gas. Most of those roles are coined that way. So it's like you are customizing those roles, but adding bits of this. They want someone with this because of the business needs and making you want to make work efficient. Clean energy transition is another factor. For example, in different countries don't care for greenhouse gas. Some countries care for that. So that could impact jobs. Like I know currently a company that is trying to lay off now. They don't want anybody for greenhouse gas again. 95% of that team has gone. So that all those greenhouse gas rules are not needed. So those are the things, because the country, the transition for clean energy, they are not really looking at greenhouse gas. So anybody that is a greenhouse gas engineer now will not be in high demand. So things like that. Timeliness and content of new regulations are so, like I said, it's also tied to that. Regulations could affect some roles. If the leadership don't want, are not concerned about green energy, then that could impact people in that position, people in carbon capture, things like that, people doing carbon capture engineering or all those things, they'll not be needed. So that could have impact those positions upstream, and even it might even be downstream. I think that's what I have for you guys, but I would like to entertain questions. I wanted it to be more interactive, and I'll stop sharing. I think I've. Hello? Okay. I think I was done.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so that was a powerful session, Mr. Walter. Thank you so much for breaking down. Well, most of us usually hear only in theory, right? And I think we can all agree that tonight's talk was more than just a presentation. I see you've given us so much to think about, and I'm quite sure some of us already be thinking our career direction right now. All right, so I know many of us have questions bubbling up already, so let's just quickly get into our Q&A segment. So we'll be opening the floor for questions basically. So it's your turn to join the conversation. So if you have questions, contributions, please drop them in the chat, or you can raise your hand, or you can unmute your mic and speak. Our speaker is here and ready to take your questions. So we're going to be having a question and answer segment right about now. If you have any questions, so you can unmute your mic and speak. All right, Samuel, you can unmute your mic and speak.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Walter. So, my question is, what are the career prospects for someone like me who studied electronics and computer engineering in this sector?
So they work in every, so for an electrical and electronics engineer, most of them, they're always mostly in the upstream. So their positions, they may not call it electrical and electronics engineer. They could be control systems engineers, right? They could be there's another even the ROV. It could be system integration engineers, and most times that's why it's always good. Like when you're doing your undergrad, try to incorporate a little bit of data into what you're doing. But I know number one is the process systems engineer positions, and that's what incorporates electrical and electronics. As they put those positions and they put requirement electrical engineering. So that's where you come in. It could also
All right.
be go on.
Oh, I wanted to
Mhm.
ask if that answers this question.
I don't. Yeah. uh,
Yeah, that did. But I have another question.
Go ahead.
So, are you familiar with what areas artificial intelligence is being used in the sector? Can you give like day-to-day use cases?
Yes, I know. Like I was saying, in the drill rig, they use AI, a lot of AI, right? So, for example, in the health and safety, for example, well, when they're drilling for oil, right? So they have they have sensors to determine the impact of the rotors or the drill equipment, not to impact employees working on the drill rig. Because I haven't worked in drill rig like that. I'm not a drilling engineer, but what I know is Slum BJ has one. That company has designed one, and those things are AI generated system that senses safety impact and it gives ranks the metrics of employees working on the drill rig. So that's a big system that have been used to reduce risk in the drill rig, and that's an AI system. Like the ROV2 is AI too, the remote operated vehicle. As I told you, that's a position, the technician. So, for example, offshore, when you have risers, corrosion, when you have leak detection, that sends signal back to the system and it tells you how much you've emitted and where it captures where we need to repair, especially when we have deep water operations going on.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Walter. So, Caleb, you raised your hand. You can unmute your mic and speak.
All right, then. Good evening, Mr. Walter. I was really has been a very resilient session.
Sorry, Caleb. Wait a minute. We can't really hear you. I don't know if it's from my end, but can you please speak a bit louder and be more audible? Thank you.
I think it should be better now. Good evening, Mr. Walter. And like I said earlier, I said this has been a very revealing session, and I've learned quite a lot. Well, my question is, how is this this oil and gas, like all these things you've said? Now, how is it like in Nigeria? Like the availability of jobs, the job scenario,
So
like is it viable or someone should just like teach the idea of Nigeria? And also. Okay, you can answer this one first. Sorry.
So for job in Nigeria, I don't know the I can just say general globally, since so I'll just say post-COVID, right? Post-COVID, it has been 1% so far, like every year increase in jobs because of number one, we have a lot of remote positions now, and most people are really diversifying into other roles, AI, data, and going into tech and all that. That can be something that's impacting people, not just focusing on oil and gas. So we saw a decline. Even last week, excuse me, last week at the ATC, let's go at AT conference, we saw the trend. We saw that there's been a decline. So going back to Nigeria, I think it ties back because most of the international oil companies also work in Nigeria. So I think all those economic, political regulations, and now I know Dangote is doing a lot better, but I don't know if it's creating a lot of jobs like that. So that's what but for Nigeria, I think there's still opportunity. What I'll just say is diversify your skill sets while you're doing your undergrad. I don't know what program you're doing, but try and pick opportunities where you can add data or AI skill sets into what you're doing so you're more marketable and also pretty much improve your I don't know if you're doing that, but you can get a mentor, but pretty much collaborate more, network more, and it might not be Nigeria, it could be somewhere else for you. That's anything I can say. I don't really have the statistics for Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. And in terms of trying to upskill or get data skills and the likes, um, for me, I do see this idea of climate change transitioning as like a threat. So, what kind of skills, what kind of data skills can someone learn that this transition will not be a threat to your future career in oil and gas?
So like it depends on where you want to, what are your long term and okay, let's say for you now it's going to be short term or long term goals. It depends on what you're trying to do long term. The data skills, a lot of data packages, there's Python, there's SQL, we call it SQL, and there's Power BI, and there's, yeah, apart from the old website, JavaScript and all that. But I would just say the basic ones are good. And I don't know what you're doing now in your undergrad. I don't know what course you're doing. Maybe I'll better channel that more into what to apply for your skill set. But what I will tell you is be current. Look at what the industry is asking for. What I always tell people when they're drafting your LinkedIn profile or trying to look for a job on job is look at go to those companies page, look at the current career positions, look at what they're actually looking for. With that, I think that will help you know what the right data skills to be focusing on. So I'm just giving a broad answer, right? But it might not be tailored for you unless I know what you're currently doing, and then with that you can know the kind of industry that is upstream nation and know what they are looking for. Then you can add channel that to what you should be working on. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, actually, I studied mechanical engineering and looking forward to having like a project management course by the side. Just I would
So yeah,
still
PMP, like I said, PMP
management
is
of.
good. PMP is generic. Yeah, everybody, if that PMP is fine, it's not out of scope. So something like machine learning. Now that's what is coming to my head. Now you're mechanical, even people in electrical, machine learning is what you should focus on because you're a mechanical guy.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right. So thank you for that one, Mr. Walter. Thank you for that one, Caleb. So the floor is still open for questions and answer. So Samuel, you raised your hand. You can unmute your mic and speak.
All right, thank you. Are there remote roles in the field? Do companies allow remote work? What are these? Can you give examples of these roles?
There are remote positions. Like I don't. I think companies are now moving. Back in the day, when post COVID, now companies are going back more hybrid. So I won't say they are. It's not like in 2021, 2022, there's a decline more in remote in oil and gas. Maybe it's for software like Microsoft, Google, and all those ones. They say hi, but now even then, most of them are now hybrid. So you have to be like in person 2 days or 3 days and work from home. So the roles, like you said, you're trying to know what kind of roles. Pretty much the ones that may be remote are maybe IT for technology roles, data analytics, yeah, but not the conventional roles like reservoir production, chemical, mechanical, or process or environmental engineer. No, those roles are hybrid. So I don't know what roles they are targeting. They're looking for maybe going to tech, maybe those ones are still, but yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that one, Mr. Walter. So like I said earlier, the floor is still open for questions and answers. So Caleb, you raised your hand. You can unmute your mic and speak.
This is kind of unrelated, but you kept on mentioning LinkedIn, and I kind of have a problem with LinkedIn. It's kind of personal, but okay, let me share.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of limiting doesn't make one flexible in terms of trying to choose a career path. Because imagine building your LinkedIn page maybe towards oil and gas, and you can't use that same page. Like you might not be able to use that same page for manufacturing or like other sectors, other sectors of engineering. And I don't. Is it
Mhm.
possible to just switch over to different career prospect with one LinkedIn page, or there are people who have various pages to just job hunt, and I don't
I
know
know
if I
people some
make sense.
yeah, I see what you're saying. So like for a fresh graduate, you don't need to have you need to have a basic engineering profile, LinkedIn profile, and look, it doesn't have to just be oil and gas. Like I focus, right? Say you're trying to do a PMP, you're gonna put that on your LinkedIn too. So that shows that you're an engineer, you can work in a project management space. So that's alone broadens, unless you're trying to really stretch your career goals to be working at different roles. So I think something like making having a professional profile picture, professional statements tailored to what you want to do long term, and with the engineering certifications you have, I think you should be fine. But some people have two LinkedIn profile. I know maybe they have one for oil and gas and one, but you want to when you're applying for a job, make sure that you're making sure the LinkedIn profile is matching that resume for that field, so that because in case the recruiter looks at your LinkedIn profile, it's not telling them something different. So I don't know, but LinkedIn has worked for a lot of people. It's just how you use it. Maybe you need some more guidance on how to use it. And for you, you're just coming out of college. You want to narrow down your first 5 years to something, then it can be flexible.
Thank you very much. So, if with what I can do is there a possible chance of not getting a job because you don't have a LinkedIn page? Because to me, it sounds unnecessary.
Yes and no, depend on their jobs and their jobs. So it depend on the kind of if you're applying to a world-class corporation like out of the country, you need a LinkedIn page. Even if you're applying for going for your master's, you need a LinkedIn page. There's no two ways about it because that's the only way you can look at your profile, get to see know what you're bringing to the table apart from your resume or your you call it CV back home, but resume most times for fresh graduates you don't need to have more than one page of what you have, not a curriculum vitae.
Thank you very much, sir. This has been a very, very like insightful session. Over to the
Hmm.
moderator.
All right, thank you very much. So, I have a question, right? I have a
Mhm.
question. So, Mr. Walter, what emerging fields or probably even skill sets do you think will become essential or probably even very important for multidisciplinary professionals in the oil and gas industry, probably over the next 5 years? So that we'll start prepping down and getting our hands ready for those who are interested in the oil and gas industry.
I'll say leadership skills. Your leadership skills, the way you communication is very key. I think that's number one. Communication, networking skills, they go hand in hand. Because if you can't communicate, you can't network. So communication, networking. And I schooled in Nigeria, my undergraduate, so I know most times we try to like, oh, we are trying to be humble. I think blow your trumpet. And that's why LinkedIn is there. You don't know who is looking at your profile, you don't know who is looking at it. You get people all over the world. LinkedIn is open to a lot of people. Blow your trumpet. Don't say, oh, I want to be humble about my achievements. Or I don't want my professor to see me on LinkedIn. If you don't want the person to see you on LinkedIn, you don't have to connect with your professor on LinkedIn. So that's it. Because you know where you're going to. So that's so what you have to work on those. And there are free trainings on communication. LinkedIn has free trainings and networking skills. And one tip I will tell you guys, give you guys, I know it's expensive. If you want to get a full-time job, with a big company, most times it's always good to do a LinkedIn. There are two LinkedIn. There's regular LinkedIn and there's a premium. The premium gives you wider reach. You have wider. It opens doors for, because a lot of these big recruiters have LinkedIn profile, so they tend to be more on the premium part of it. So the premium opens, gives you more wider connection that it does it, that the conventional LinkedIn page.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right, so you mostly mentioned soft skills, right? So how about technical skill sets that you feel will be very effective or very essential or very important in the oil and gas industry over probably the next 2 to 3 to 5 years?
I would say, I would say data and AI. That's where it's moving. Like you saw what, I don't know if you checked the news. In fact, just yesterday, it's cut across all industries now. This is Amazon. So Amazon laid off over 14,000 people. And because why? They don't need them. Now they have a AI generated vehicle working for them. So that, if that is not an indication to everybody of where other industries are moving. Not just, it's not even just Amazon is not all on gas. I'm just giving an example. It's if you Google it, you see it just yesterday or 2 days ago. But they don't need them. So all these robots are replacing jobs. So if you think about that, then that should make you pause and think of what to do. But for industry, you can't replace, you can't use AI to do a lot of, like, replace humans like that. There's some things you've seen as humans, but those technical skills, data, at least you know your field, know you technically sound. If you're a reservoir engineer, be good. If you're a drilling engineer, but try and look at how to incorporate those data and AI into it to make you stand out.
Hmm. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So the floor is still opened. If you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and speak or type them in the chat box if you're shy. Because to be honest, it's not every day you have personalities like this on a webinar, right? So maximize this opportunity and then ask your questions, especially people who are really interested in the oil and gas industry, CPE students, or any students at all, any department that are really interested in the oil and gas sector. The floor is open. You can unmute your mic and speak or type them in the chat box. Let's make this session more of a conversation, right, than just a presentation. So, yes, the floor is open. If you have any questions, anyone at all, relating to the topic on ground or to the oil and gas sector in general, you can unmute your mic and speak or type it in the chat box. Anyone? Any two? Going? Going? All right, gone. All right, so in the app, does anybody want to say anything? Okay. So in the absence of none, so Mr. Walter, if you could give one piece of advice to students preparing to enter the energy industry, especially those hoping to explore multiple disciplines, right? What would it be? That thing you wish you would have done earlier, or that mistake you wish you didn't make, right? Or just the advice you feel you'd give to students who really want to venture into the energy industry. What would it be?
Hmm. Good question. I think those two things I mentioned, communication, improve communication, work on the communication. Under the communication, I'll talk about don't be shy to brag about your work. It's not bragging. I know back home is like you want to be humble. Those things, you never know what to open. The person you're speaking to might be needing to collaborate. I think we didn't do that. I did that during my time because I'm very, very, very outspoken. But most people are always fixated on just their school work, and they're not willing to branch out to improve on that soft skill because I'll give an example. During my time, it's hindered a lot of people because they didn't see it as needed, those soft skills. They thought it was just the regular reading, get A's in school. But when you now move out, start going out to events, you see that you are really not working smart. So I think I'll just say work smart, but be smart on your communication and networking, because I think above just having a regular 2-1 or a first class, what really open doors is how you communicate to people with people, how you network, and your likability. If people like you, I think that takes you from point A to point B and even to point C. Yeah, that's I did some of it, but not really to that extent. But I noticed that's one of the things. Even when people move over here, it takes them time, and if yeah, you need to open up more, be relaxed, be open-minded. I think the mindset, have that mindset that I can really improve on my communication, meeting people, and networking. So have that positive mindset, and yeah. Mm.
All right. Thank you very much for that one, Mr. Walter. All right. It was really an amazing session for me. It was really insightful. I like the key points that you dropped, and I like the fact that you didn't just focus on the technical aspect. You talked about networking, you talked about communication, you talked about putting yourself out there, right? Because somebody's going to see you for the comfort of your room, right? So you really need to put yourself out there, learn new skills, not just technical skills, but soft skills as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Walter. So do you have like any other thing to say before we call this a night?
No, just say thanks for the invitation, and yeah, and I wish everybody on the call have gained one or two things, and yeah, hopefully they get to use those things and improve themselves for their next role or next level where they are.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Walton. So thank you to
Mhm.
every one of you on this call who made this session lively and alive and active. Right, thank you. But before we officially close tonight's session and take the vote of thanks, a few exciting updates you should absolutely not miss from SPE LASSO. Number one, the general meeting. So we're gathering next week, same community, same energy, new ideas. So keep an eye open on our group chat for more details. And also, we are calling on volunteers to join the Energy for Me team. If you've got a heart for outreach, mentorship, and even energy education, we'd love to have you on board. So you can reach out to Demilade, our Energy for Me lead, after this session. Also, if you're still not a registered member of the Society of Petroleum Engineer SPE, join us officially because membership opens doors to global resources, mentorship, and even industry exposure. Also, if you enjoyed today's or tonight's ALP session, can I see your virtual reaction? If you enjoyed tonight's ALP session. All right, thank you, Abbas. Thank you, Fruitfulness. Thank you, Sylvester. So stay tuned for our next ALP session coming soon. So get ready for another power-packed learning experience. Now, for an announcement I'm very, very excited to make, and I hope you would be too. So we would be having our SPE Hangout very, very soon. If you're excited, can I see your virtual reactions because I am excited. All right. So to put a face to these beautiful voices or beautiful pictures that we'll be seeing, we'll be having our SP hangout, chill vibes, games, laughter, and connection. And you do not want to miss it. And also, we'll be calling for abstract submission for the NIAC or NIACE 2026. Oh, sorry. So it's an Africa enforcement energy industry event bringing together global and regional leaders to shape the future of energy, right? So the conference focuses on energy transition and sustainability, then collaboration for growth. So they'll be showcasing new products and operational excellence to maximize value from hydrocarbon assets. NIC consistently attracts industry regulations, senior government officials, energy professionals across all career stages, right? So more information about this will be dropped on our WhatsApp group. It's from all right. So more information about this would be dropped on our WhatsApp group. So now to take that will be all for announcement. So to take the closing remarks, we would be having our energy for me lead in the person of Famuyide Oluwademilade. So you have the floor.
All right, good evening, everyone. I hope we all had an incredible session tonight. Please, can I see your reactions if you did? All right, thank you. So, on behalf of SP Lasso, we extend a huge thank you to Mr. Walter for taking us on such an eye-opening journey through the multidisciplinary world of oil and gas. To everyone who joined in for the energy and the engagement. Until the next session, keep exploring, learning, and keep. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Demilade. And just like that, we've come to an end of an incredible evening. A huge thank you to Mr. Walter and to every single participant who made tonight's session interactive and alive. So remember, growth doesn't happen in isolation. Stay connected, keep showing up, and also engage with our posts on social media, on LinkedIn. Until next time, this is Monsieur Bano signing off. So stay curious, stay driven, and keep exploring the energy that powers your dreams. All right, so it's been a lovely evening. Good night, and oh, someone raised his hand. You can unmute your mic and speak.
All right, good evening, everyone. To those that are still here, the application for to be a member